Donald Trump won. Today is November 5th, 2024, and this is the day of the US presidential election. And today Donald Trump will win the election, unequivocally and undisputed. Even if he loses, he wins, because in a sense, he's already won. I watched dozens of experts on various channels, and while many commentators tried to uncover the secret of Trump's magic, they were mostly left in shock. His critics remain disappointed with their fellow citizens who did not take his flaws and shortcomings into account. They find it difficult to understand the deep impulse that drives half of America to support Donald Trump. In this talk, I will explain the secret of Trump's magic. By the end, you will understand what the mental impulse is, what the pain, if you will, is. The pain that Trump promises to heal in the hearts of Americans. America stands at a crossroads. Voters are asked to decide between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and indeed between two paths that the world's greatest country can take over the next 4 years. Superficially, these are very different directions. The United States is divided at its core. Polls show a complete tie between the candidates. The interior of the country is painted red, while the coastal areas were blue. One might think that America is split in two. Half the people want to return America to its former glory, essentially to make America great again. The other half seek to realize an American dream unburdened by what has been. And let there be no doubt, this is a significant crossroads in terms of policy. But voters are being asked to decide on the ideal of the American image, on the image of the worthy American. In the first part of this talk, I will present the image of America after Donald Trump's victory. I will briefly outline the path he promises to pave for Americans starting January 20th, 2025. But that is not the unique aspect of this talk. Its uniqueness lies in its psychoanalytic and psychopolitical approach, which seeks to answer the riddle: why do half of the Americans, despite all his shortcomings, still support Donald Trump? What do they find in him? What does their heart desire? What life do they seek to realize, and why is Donald Trump their ideal? What is their American dream? In a parallel talk, I will present Kamala Harris' path and the ideal of life and ideal America that she embodies. So once you're done with this talk about Trump's victory, click on the follow-up talk that explores Kamala Harris's victory. Hello, I am Professor Gad Yair, and today I will offer you an analysis from the perspective of political psychology, as well as from the viewpoint of culture, mind, and political ideals. On the surface, the phrase that drives Trump's campaign, "Make America Great Again," reflects a romantic promise of a return to America's glory days. It suggests a restoration of the identity and the policies of the past that are no longer present today. Since announcing his candidacy in 2015, Trump has consistently told the citizens of his country, "Look, America was once great, and I am the person who will make it great again." And when you clear the multiplicity of meanings in his statements, the image of his America emerges as a country made up of white citizens who are willing to open the doors of their country, but only sparingly, and especially to quality immigrants. Trump is unashamed to classify people into different degrees of quality and to refer to other countries as garbage. He does not hesitate to deride the immigrants hailing from those countries. He is only willing to accept immigrants who will enhance America's quality, not those who will detract it from within. He assures voters that America under his leadership will intimidate countries around the world so effectively that they will rush to sign peace agreements now, including Russia and Ukraine, South Saudi Arabia and Israel, even Iran. Perhaps most importantly, the America Trump promises his supporters will allow the capitalist machine to operate powerfully, free from the crippling constraints of government intervention and free from the environmental hinders on meritocracy and efficiency. Yes, Trump promises to bring America back to the glorious days of Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, and Carnegie. But let me shift gears and highlight the magic that Donald Trump casts over half the citizens of this country. Joe Rogan articulated this well in a talk with Trump just 10 days ago. And I want you to listen to Rogan describing Trump's speech style. After you listen to Joe Rogan, I'll take you on a brief sentimental journey to visit Archie Bunker. And I would like to explain that something about Trump's comedic ability, as identified by Rogan, resonates with many Americans, seducing them. This is how I want to be, but my country does not allow me to be. The political correctness imposed upon them, upon the Americans, suffocates them. And perhaps with Trump, they feel they can return to being American, to breathe, to express themselves freely, to feel natural, to feel rooted to an American land. So let us listen to Joe Rogan. Please pay attention to the captions below, and you will see how YouTube deletes words that come out of Rogan's mouth. Rogan is voicing what Trump supporters want to hear, and that's the voice they crave. And here in this short clip we see in the subtitles how the system prohibits expression. We observe how YouTube censors Rogan's and Trump's words and phrases and curses. The American system has become increasingly polite, but also repressive and prohibitive. It censors, it prohibits, it cancels. And that is why so many people seek to gain their freedom from a system that imprisons them. And Trump seems to promise that freedom. He embodies their fantasy. So here, take a moment to listen to a segment of the talk in which Joe Rogan describes Trump's style.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
Maybe. Maybe
He said a lot of wild shit, and then CNN, in all their brilliance, by highlighting your wild shit, made you much more popular. And they boosted you in the polls because people were tired of someone talking in this bullshit, pre-prepared politician lingo. And even if they didn't agree with you, they at least knew whoever that guy is, that's him. That's really him. Yeah. When you see certain people talk, certain people in the public eye, you don't know who they are. You have no idea who they are. It's very difficult to know. You see them in conversations. They have these pre-planned answers. They say everything. It's very rehearsed. You never get to the meat of it. One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like, you get out and you do these huge events, and you're just talking, and you're making. We've highlighted you on the show many times when you did this Biden impression where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand-up. It's funny stuff. But it's like, you were making fun of Elon one time. You were doing an Elon impression. It's great. You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, "You'd be in jail." Like, that's great timing. Yeah. But it's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like, no one had done that. And I think,
you know, it's funny. You need at least the attitude of a comedian.
You will never hear such a talk on official media channels. Only people like Joe Rogan can say things that the TVs will beep out. And that is exactly what half the American public is asking for, the unbeeping of Rogan. This represents the hidden psychoanalytic wish that many Americans seek to fulfill by supporting Donald Trump. They bear wounds or suffer pains, and Trump reflects their needs in his behavior. He symbolizes the medicine they seek. He is their rehabilitated image. He promises that they will be able to heal by following him. The wild shit moment captures a critical aspect of Trump's appeal, his ability to resonate with a segment of the population that feels marginalized, frustrated, and mostly silenced. It highlights the intersection of authenticity, rebellion against political correctness, and the shared emotional experience, all of which are central to his connection with his supporters. Their pain is the pain of repression. It stems from the demand for censorship of their inner truth. The problem begins with the prohibitions imposed by the culture of political correctness. So by supporting Trump, even if only on a fantastic level, they seek to eliminate the censorship of political correctness for statements they would like to hear or they would like to express. And this image of Trump, the free, the unrepressed, the uncensored, is what half of America desires. They want to identify with him, perhaps to be like him, without needing alcohol or weed to break free from the paralyzing culture of political correctness, from rules and protocols and laws. In the run-up to the 1972 elections, a humorous campaign ran with Archie Bunker for president. Archie Bunker's face loomed over t-shirts, drinking glasses, and other memorabilia. And after Nixon, there was a real chance that this humorous campaign could have ended with Archie Bunker as president in the White House. Indeed, it was President Trump who made Archie Bunker's candidacy feel realistic, proving that when the American conscience is freed from the grip of the politically correct superego, a candidate like Bunker does indeed have a considerable chance of winning the presidency. Young people here are asking who Archie Bunker is. Sorry for the oversight. Here's an explanation. The 1970s TV series All in the Family would likely not have aired now in the 21st century America. However, during its run from 1971 to 1983, it was the most watched program, attracting about 50 million viewers per episode, roughly 20% of all viewers at the time. This immense popularity stemmed from the main character, Archie Bunker, a 50-year-old working-class white man who worked at the New York harbor. Initially, Bunker lived with his wife, Edith, their daughter, Gloria, and her husband, Mike, before they later became neighbors. Their encounters with guests repeatedly sparked conflicts over explosive topics: racism, abortion, feminism, politics, Jews, Christians, Poles, blacks, immigrants, no need. Archie Bunker voiced extreme views on all these issues, often laced with curses and dark, racist and misogynistic statements. He ridiculed everyone: his wife, the president, the pastor, his son-in-law, neighbors and friends, while remaining oblivious to his own politically incorrect qualities. It was precisely because of Archie Bunker's political incorrectness that the public loved the series so much. His character allowed Americans to experience during prime-time television the return of the repressed, the ability to watch what they are forbidden to say and what is deemed inappropriate in the public sphere. Bunker struck a sensitive, painful nerve of Americans. Political correctness in the United States leads many Americans to censor what they would express freely, if only if they could do so without criticism. Censorship and cancel culture loom large. Political correctness operates in the hearts of many Americans like a menacing superego, repressing any shadow or hint of discontent toward minorities, homosexuality, or the unconventional beliefs of various groups, bizarros. Fear of public Public opinion dominates America. The anxiety of being dismissed for a single slip of a tongue, or a casual comment, or a minor injustice creates a paralyzing and horrifying environment. Just before political correctness took over America, the series All in the Family allowed viewers to experience an emotional outlet akin to the effects of drunkenness. Archie Bunker liberated viewers from the compulsive power of the superego. He provided Americans with the opportunity to laugh at a compatriot who denied the obligation to be polite and fair and egalitarian and multicultural and pluralistic. Yes, Archie Bunker expressed what many Americans felt deep in their hearts but were afraid to articulate. He gave free rein to their need to escape emotional stress, freeing them, if only for half an hour, from the burdensome suppression of political correctness. For a moment, many Americans could identify with the absolute other of America, the chauvinist, the blatant, the racist, the brazen, the uninhibited, but also the beloved and the patriotic family member. In his somewhat backward, comedic and liberated image, Donald Trump also conveys an ideal regarding the country's openness to the new and the different. He is the first president in history not to come from a political background. He is the only one who, even in his presidential attire, spoke from his heart, doing so without a teleprompter, honestly, directly, in straightforward, relatable language. He can say that there are garbage countries and all kinds of wild shit, as Joe Rogan put it. In other words, he can make outrageous statements and be forgiven thanks to his perceived honesty, candor and courage. Everyone else would have been cancelled long ago, but not Trump. Some believe, therefore, that he is a godsend. Regardless, if you watched the full 3 hours of Trump's talk with Joe Rogan, you would indeed see that his mouth and heart are in sync. He may present fictional facts, but he is sincere nonetheless. He articulates what he genuinely desires in the moment, even when discussing topics like whales beaching due to wind turbines off the coast of New Jersey, or promising to refill California's disappearing lakes. He makes these outrageous claims even if he has not thought them through beforehand or conducted training with his team. On the contrary, he says them even when he knows there is no realistic connection between his words and their realization in practice. He simply fills the air, but often it feels graceful and liberating, like stand-up comedy. Just 5 days ago, the United States was in turmoil when President Joe Biden referenced a statement from Trump's campaign that suggested Puerto Ricans or their country are garbage. The media erupted, labeling this a forbidden, evil, racist, hateful, and offensive remark. In response, Biden claimed that the only garbage he sees is Trump's supporters. He seemed to forget that only Trump can make such statements without facing backlash. This is something many commentators horrified by Trump's remarks struggle to understand. When Trump mocks a disabled journalist, when he declares McCain is not a war hero, or calls soldiers as losers and fools, his supporters relish this unfiltered freedom from the morality and political correctness. They identify with his ability to say the unspeakable. They long to be as free as he is to express whatever comes to their mind. That's what the First Amendment was written for, they argue. Yet, despite the American commitment to free speech, they feel suffocated in America. To them, Donald Trump embodies their dreams and desires. He embodies a wish fulfillment that allows them to feel awake and liberated from the grip of the vigilant, the woke, and the constraints of political correctness. They admire his fearlessness in uttering statements he might later regret. He never regrets anyway. After all, he has made comments that seem intolerable to many. However, and nonetheless, half of America not only tolerates his outrageous remarks, they embrace them because they yearn for the same freedom to speak candidly, to express their frustrations about what they consider trash behavior in others. For many Americans, Trump represents the only figure in the political landscape who exudes honesty. They perceive sincerity in his words, even when critics label them as misogynistic or racist. To his supporters, Trump bravely confronts the establishment and the culture of repression and conformity in America. Despite his roots in television and entertainment, they see him as genuine. He is viewed as the only honest man in American politics, even when he tells multiple lies in a single hour. Thus, Donald Trump's clenched fist after surviving an assassination attempt symbolized both his own greatness and that of his country. His election signifies a longing for Trump to be the terminator of the deep state, embodying a profound wish to liberate their souls of the Americans from the imperatives of conformity that bind their mouths and thoughts. Today, Donald Trump promises a more carefree America, one less focused on fairness and more on enjoyment in bars with beer, triple burgers, all-you-can-eat specials, endless TV screens, and scantily clad women dancing. He vows to dismantle the culture of repression and shame, allowing America to emerge from its constraints and reclaim its status as the greatest nation in the world. This is why I believe Donald Trump will win today, because he is showing many Americans that they do not have to submit to political correctness. They do not need to submit to the system or the establishment or the deep state. He has demonstrated that the frontier of the Wild West is still open, and they can ride forth to realize the American dream of the Sons of Liberty. And is there a greater victory than that? Please do not hesitate to like and support this work, this channel. Click now to see the talk on Kamala Harris' victory. I am Professor Gad Yair.